Friends, how's it going? We have a dirty ass room, but more importantly, we have a lot of stuff to talk about with Dying Light 2 Stay Human. What I'm about to show you is by far the biggest thing to be excited for regarding Dying Light 2. You saw the title already. We're going to be discussing a leak. This leak is massive. It's literally like 40 pages long. There's so much information in here that was data mined from the files. We have leaks about a potential arena horde mode, wave mode. There's a lot in here. Also, quick little reminder, I will be interviewing Timon Smektala very soon. For those of you that don't know, Timon is the game director behind Dying Light 2. He's the big Chad man overseeing basically the entire game. So right now I'm collecting questions, and if you have any for him, go down below, write them down there. But now to news time. So the first thing I want to do is shout out to both Alexander Whittaker and also Bub for discovering these files and also for sharing it with me. The entire document from start to finish will flash on screen right now, so if you want to go ahead, read this for yourself, throw this video on 0.25 speed, pause it when you can, you are free to look this over. It's roughly 39 pages long, and it includes a lot of information about ELYSIUM and the future of Dying Light 2. And the point of this video is for me to give you an in-depth analysis of the document, talk about the important points, because like I said, there's a lot in here. You can easily spend an hour plus reading everything if you want to, but this video will go and give you all that juicy information in roughly 10 to 15 minutes. Now, I do have to say, I didn't find this leak. I was sent this leak. Gotta cover myself legally here and in the eyes of Techland. You can find this by data mining the game for yourself. That said, everything in here that we will be discussing may or may not be true, so could be potential spoilers if it is indeed true. So by clicking forward, you assume all of the risk associated with getting leaked information earlier. Don't want to see you in the comments complaining that you spoiled, because man oh man, there's a lot of pages in here. To basically sum it up completely, the leak is a quest that takes place in ELYSIUM. ELYSIUM is the leaked DLC that many of us are expecting to be coming later down the road. ELYSIUM will most likely not be the first DLC, but come sometime after. The entire leak is dialogue from start to finish for a quest that you do in Opera House. Now, if you remember from my previous video discussing once again another leak for ELYSIUM, this is a leaked location that will be coming to us eventually. But with all of that said, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. The quest starts out by having you meet up with Kurt. Kurt is someone that, depending on your choices through the main story of the game, you will come across defending the cathedral. Upon meeting Kurt, Aiden says to him that he is looking for a GRE terminal, but Kurt states that he moved all of the equipment to the Opera House. After a little bit of bickering back and forth, Kurt wants to show Aiden something, and they climb up the tower to look over at Central Loop. Kurt begins his backstory of how he was locked up in a prison cell and how he was imprisoned by someone named Astrid. Kurt once lived in the Opera House with his people, but Astrid took control of the Opera House, isolated him, and separated him from his son. His son's name was Figaro, and as we mentioned earlier, he does have his people. His people are mentioned to be fellow prisoners that he tried to free by saving them from the infected. Being the handyman that Kurt is, he saved everyone including Astrid, but she rose to power and imprisoned him in a box. He wanted the Opera House to be a safe haven for his people, but Astrid had other plans, including going as far as kidnapping his son. The discussion ends by Kurt saying if you help him and get his son back, he will tell you where the GRE terminal is, and in order to free him, you must challenge Astrid to a fight. The only way to defeat Astrid is by being a tournament winner. Aiden makes his way to the Opera House, but is then denied entry by a man named BJ to fight Astrid, as he needs to be a champion, and the only way to be a champion is by participating in local arena activities that will be accessible from either the PK ship and also the Fisheye Canteen. It is noted that when talking to BJ, he says, "Wait a minute, aren't you that Aiden kid? Got the radio working from Matt?" This implies that this particular ELYSIUM mission will at least take place after broadcast. Aiden then goes to fight in a local tournament, and he comes back and is allowed entry to the arena that Astrid rules. Upon entering, Aiden is asked if he wants to fight the infected, warriors, or Astrid herself. Depending on your choices will determine your outcome. If you pick infected, you fight them. If you pick warrior, you fight them as well. If you pick Astrid immediately, she accepts, but in due time. BJ then tells Aiden to look for Dave, as he can wager some bets to make additional money if he wanted to. Dave informs him that he must defeat her champions first before being able to fight Astrid. Aiden then goes into the arena to fight wave after wave of enemies, each round getting stronger and stronger longer than the last one. And once Aiden does emerge victorious, he is given a new name that the player must decide: Immortal, Deathslayer, or Usurper. Once picked, the crowd goes wild and starts cheering, and then Aiden is escorted to a room where Kurt radios him in, telling him to make his way to the control room. Aiden discovers that it's guarded, and the only way to get to the guard, whose name is Hammer, out of the way is to wager money with him. It is noted that there's a picture of Kurt on the wall, and then when Dave enters the room, he starts talking about him, telling Aiden that Kurt lost his mind and had a psychic break. Aiden is confused about everything, saying that Astrid took away Kurt's son, and then all of a sudden, they all start laughing. It is revealed that Kurt's son, that he cared for so deeply and loved so much, is actually just a security system. It was a system that had security functions and much more, but it went faulty because of Kurt, and it started murdering people instead of the infected. Aiden is then called into the arena to fight more champions, as Kurt radios him in, and Aiden is very angry because he did lie. As they are talking, wave after wave, enemies appear, and Aiden finally defeats all of them. While this is happening, the crowd is chanting his name over and over until they go silent. This is when Astrid appears. They argue over Kurt, and then Aiden is given 3 options: get out of the arena, stand up to Astrid, or to say, see ya later. All these choices end with no fight occurring. Aiden or Astrid end up leaving, and then after that, Aiden pays his dues, collects his wagering money, and then he starts tampering with the system to short it out for Kurt. More work is needed on the system, and then Aiden gets caught. He gets accused of cheating for the bet, and then Dave offers him to either work for him, or Aiden has the option to kill Dave. And in this particular situation, Aiden kills Dave, and then he makes his way to the control room to activate it. And then from here on, there's like a whole section where it goes from English to Polish. So a lot of what occurs next, we actually can't see what it is without a proper translation. I did try putting it into Google Translate, but it is just complete nonsense right here. It reverts back to English when Aiden and Astrid start their fight in the arena. Their fight is about to begin, but they talk about Kurt before going at it. She reveals that he was imprisoned because he murdered over 100 women and children because of his faulty security systems. Aiden right here is then given 2 options: to fight or give up. If you give up, Kurt starts attacking everyone with his system, and then Aiden has to go and shut it down. Once that happens, Kurt enters the arena in an electric combat suit where Aiden must fight him. After Aiden wins, Kurt gets injured, but if you go and do the other option, if you fight Astrid and win, she leaves the arena. Kurt will then appear next to you and says that he's going to kill everyone for revenge. Aiden then decides what he's going to do, but it's revealed that Kurt actually never forgave Aiden for killing Leto. And then when that conversation happens, Aiden glitches out, aka he gets a seizure. He wakes up to the guards taking Kurt out. Astrid comes back to talk about Kurt. Aiden says he's sick and that he needs help. After they chit chat back and forth, Astrid then tells Aiden the location of the GRE terminal, and then the rest of it goes back to Polish and we're unable to translate what comes after that. But there it is, an entire mission that reveals a lot about the future of Dying Light 2. This sounds like the perfect opportunity for an arena horde mode type of game mode to make its way into the sequel. It would really make perfect sense because remember, Aiden has to go to a local tournament first at either the Fisheye or the PK ship in order to qualify for the main arena in the Opera House. This could be stating or hinting that arenas may be added into Dying Light 2 when it comes to Elysium. I feel like this would be a missed opportunity if this stuff in these arenas were only tied to story progression. That would be a slap in the face right there. This arena horde mode is endgame content that this game desperately needs. Elysium sounds like exactly what the community wants right now, a substantial boost to content that explores new locations, quests, and characters that we have ran into at some point. It seems like the placement of this DLC takes place after Broadcast, which when you play the main game, everything after Broadcast, in my opinion, kind of goes downhill pacing wise. So the role of this DLC may be to expand it, slow it down a bit, rather than the hyper mode that it currently is after the second act. And honestly, a horde mode game mode would be perfect for Dying Light. It's always been something that the community has been requesting since the original. You have this massive sandbox in Dying Light 2 to do exactly what you like, take advantage of it. It could function kind of similar to how Call of Duty Zombies does, and I mean, look at that fan base. That community during its prime time has a lot of content to play with. Not exactly right now with Vanguard, but there is a lot of content there. But the possibilities of a Horde mode, survival mode for Dying Light 2 could be endless. Special infected rounds, leaderboards, playing all this in co-op, that would be awesome. I know they had the Bozak mode in the original, but I'm more so leaning towards the survival mode here, where it gets harder and harder each round. Like, you could have 10 or 5 little virals for round 1, round 5, you get some volatiles in there, round 20, you get 100 volatiles. Just think about it. This little food for thought here. But that is the major league quest in arena mode that may or may not be coming to Dying Light 2. What do you think about it? Do you like it? Do you want something like this? Let me know down below. I'd be happy to read it. But anyways, if you do want to go and see more content from me, you can click on these videos right here.